think it's working. Okay. Let's see here. Why the hell is that? No, that's not what I want. Okay. I think... Okay, yep. Everything's good. Right? I think so. Not for a month and suddenly I just forget how everything works. But I think that should be good now. Okay. Oh, man. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Cafe Autumn, where we don't care who you are, as long as you're not a cut. And... yeah, I've been gone for a month. I don't think anybody noticed, because I don't think anybody cared. Anyway. Yeah, I imagine some people might have some questions, if anyone cares about that kind of shit. But yeah, there's a reason why I took a hiatus. And, unfortunately, unfortunately, there was a... how do I phrase this? Situation that occurred with one of my pets, and I had to take care of that. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just fucking with you. The real truth was actually... why did everything go black? But really, the truth is actually that my folks called me up, or at least one of my folks, and said that they were going to be out of town for a month, and they just needed me to basically babysit. So I was out of there for... I just had to focus on that for a month. Yeah. I got paid for it though, so that's good. Oh, speaking of paid, I'm also, in the month that I was gone, I actually started working again, so I've been saving up some money. I'm really enjoying that. Yeah. It's so good to be working again, honestly. Like, you know, sometimes, I will say this, sometimes... wait, hold on. Let me just double check. Yep. Okay, good. Yeah. But sometimes, it can be satisfying to not work. Sometimes, you know, because you get to sleep whenever you want, and you get to, you know, just relax and take the edge off whenever you feel like. But at some point, let's be real, not working gets incredibly, monotonous. Yeah. But ultimately, I mean, I'm just glad that I'm actually able to work again and everything, and everything is actually everything is actually being handled pretty well for the most part. I'm not getting paid too much altogether, but it's better than nothing, at least. I know that phrase gets tossed around a lot, but I was literally not getting paid anything, so having some money in my account at least is nice. I got to pay for some shit that I wanted. I got to pay for some, like, codingers. I haven't gotten to pay for that at all, so I'm glad for that. But because of that, I am ultimately, I do have to say this, I am going to be looking towards pushing myself to getting more work. It's gonna be tough, especially with the current day and age and everything. It's gonna be tough, but I'm looking towards trying to get that up. So yeah, YouTube vids and streams, if they're more on the decline on my end, that is why, because by all accounts, just work is taking up more of my life as opposed to being on YouTube. So, yeah. Oh man, It's funny, because I was just thinking about that, and then I realized, oh wait, I actually, before I went on hiatus, I actually did have some scripts I was going to do, and some videos I was going to do. I had a video that I had been cooking in the oven since last year, that I finally got around to revising and getting to work right, so hopefully I can get into editing that and releasing it. It was those who don't know, it was what I was talking about when I made my video on Kyokai no Kanda. The video that was damn near an hour long. I got it to somewhere a little more manageable. I spent some time working on that, but I'm real glad I was able to get that down under the wire. Unfortunately, it did happen when I went on. It did, like, I got finished with the recording when I went on hiatus, so, or I should say before I went on hiatus, because when I was on hiatus I wasn't doing shit except for what my folks needed. So, but yeah, anyway, that's ultimately a thing I'm looking forward to pushing for further work on my end, and YouTube vids and streams. I'm intending to decrease the amount I'm online, but until then, I am going to be relatively trying my best to pump out some streams and videos and whatnot. My best. But yeah, this got me thinking, like, over the hiatus, this whole thing, it got me thinking, 5 years have passed. 5 years have passed since COVID. Yeah. So, sometime either this month or next month, I'm intending to release a podcast. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it live, but I'm intending to release a podcast discussing the last 5 years, because, man, just the last 5 years have been a trip, to say the least. Like, everyone involved, everyone, regardless of background, regardless of situation, everybody has been involved and affected. And I want to just sort of talk about, like, sort of how the last 5 years have been in so many ways. So, I'm going to have a podcast episode coming up that's going to be a reflection of that. So, I don't know if it's going to be live or not, but I don't know. And there's no real, like, qualification for this, because usually I bring on people, when it comes to the podcast, usually I bring on people that are like, oh yeah, I have, like, some knowledge about this, or I want to talk about this, but this one's just like everyone's going to be welcome regardless, so yeah. Other than that, there's and some more and less depressing news. I am proud to say that I officially sell my art now. This is not a joke. In the description, there is a link to... Oh man, maybe it hasn't changed. I'm looking at them. Okay, well, you know what? I will remedy that soon. But there was going to be a link. I don't know if it's saved, but there was going to be a link where I was going to showcase my Redbubble. So I actually do have a page on Redbubble now, and hopefully after the stream and whatnot, maybe I'll highlight this as a clip and then send a link in the description. But after the stream, I hope to correct that. But yeah, I'm selling my art now. I have a lot of different pieces that I'm hoping to turn into sort of like merchandise and whatnot. But yeah, I have like 6 pieces up on my Redbubble right now. There's some more recent works. Some works that I've actually gone in and edited and modified. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, but some of the works that I have made in the last year or so, I have actually turned into storages where that you can buy and whatnot. You can buy them as normal prints, you can buy them as phone cases, you can buy them as like journals or sketchbooks. But yeah, and for full clarity and whatnot, because you know, I know some people are gonna think about it, because the prices are in my mind, because I got my own shop now. The prices are gonna be a bit steep, but it's Redbubble's pricing, And I know what some people are going to be saying. No, I don't get. Unfortunately, I do not get the full, the full amount that's allotted on the website. I get a fraction of it. So if something is like, say, $1, I get maybe 25 cents or something like that. I'd have to check the exact amount. But yeah, I'm real glad to do that now. Now I can actually sell my work, and I thought that I put it in the description. I will have to remedy that. Oh man. But yeah, for right now, that's pretty much it. So just to reiterate, yeah, I was just taking care of family business over the month. I'm finally working again. I'm saving up some money. I'm intending to push for further work, so that means YouTube and streams and videos. When I can do that, I'm intending to decrease them because I don't know if you noticed, but this is kind of a dead avenue for a career, which is pretty fucking obvious. YouTube sucks. Twitch sucks in terms of making content and making money off of it, really. You can't, I hate the landscape now, because you can't just, be yourself and do this. No, you have to copy what other people are doing. You have to copy what people like Mr. Beast are doing, You have to do what they're doing, and I fucking hate it. I fucking hate what YouTube has become, honestly. But I'm still doing this shit just as a hobby. Not even getting paid for it. Whatever. Anyway. Other than that, yeah, I'm planning to do a podcast episode where 5 years have passed. We're talking about that. And I sell my art now. So. But in the month, and I'm surprised about this, so much has been happening back to back to back in May alone. It's just like, I thought about making just a my thoughts video or just an announcement video talking about it. But then I thought, why not, like, I'm a highest, why not just run through everything down here? And yeah, if you'll notice, speaking of content and whatnot, since I've been on hiatus, yeah, you'll notice I have been uploading, quote-unquote, uploading content that has come out since I've been on my hiatus. Yeah, that stuff was scheduled. That stuff was meant to come out. Like, I made a whole Hawkeye Star Rail video about why I was dropping it. Yeah, I made that in April, and then released it after the character casters came out, just to prove a point. Fuck, I forgot the keybinds. But anyway. Yeah, other than that, other than my life, we got a bunch of stuff for gaming. So, first things up. The current gen gaming, I have my thoughts about this, especially with the Switch 2. So, I have been back and forth, even before the hiatus, with a number of people about this shit. And I kind of want to see if I can't pull up the messages. Because I know I sent some messages. But the thing is, it's just like, the Switch 2 was a big announcement for a number of reasons. And I don't think it's really any secret. I think a lot of people know why it's a big announcement and everything for a lot of reasons. But I thought about, sort of the landscape and sort of the current state of gaming. And I gotta say, I hate it. I genuinely hate it. Because it's just, it feels so much like a genuine luxury. It feels so much like a genuine luxury nowadays. Because it's so expensive. It's just so expensive, and it's so, like, I don't. Fucking, the fact that, yeah, the fact that Switch games are going up at $80 for pricing and whatnot, it's just, fucking, I hate what the gaming market has become. I really do. I hate the Switch 2 and what it has shown. I've hated what the PS5 has really come out with and everything. I'm hating a lot of Microsoft's practices. But I thought about it, and now since I'm making money, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna remedy this. Ultimately, doing something that I never thought I would be able to, and I bought a new console. I bought a new one, and it was off the market. It was not cheap, but I think it was worth every single penny, honestly. So I actually have a picture of it. Let me pull it up. Right behind that is the PS3 I got. What? Yeah, okay, so instead of getting a Switch 2, I looked at the market, okay? I looked at the market. Let me tell you something. I saw prices for a Switch 2, right? I saw prices for a Switch 2, they're fucking expensive. I saw prices for a PS5. Shit was like $400 to $500 still. Even off of like even whatnot. I saw prices for an Xbox. Like, all this shit is just so expensive, and then I thought, you know what, like, I have a bunch of games for the PS3 just collecting dust on my shelf. How much are PS3s going for? So, let me reiterate. Alright? Switch 2s are costing somewhere between $500 to $800. Some of them I've seen going into the thousands. I don't know if that's just like fake posting, but I've seen some of them go into the thousands. PS5s, $500 to $800 as well. Xboxes, I've seen some go for $700 to, again, over thousands. PS3, I bought this for less than $100. You can kind of see the gears turning in my brain of why I went with this. But the reason why I downgraded is because in my mind, the PS3 was one of the consoles that by all accounts were ideal gaming. You know why? Simple. If I wanted to play online, I don't have to pay for a fucking subscription service to be able to do that. On top of that, I have a fuck ton of physical media about it, right? I have a bunch of games. Off just what I've got on my desk right now. Soul Calibur 5. I've got Soul Calibur 5. I have Tekken Tag Tournament 2. I have Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax. I have BioShock Infinite. Batman Arkham Asylum. I have Infamous 1 and 2. Yeah, how long has it been since Sucker Punch actually released an Infamous game? I'll do you one better. How long has it been since they've actually talked about bringing back Infamous? I'll wait. Yeah, I'm just so excited now that I actually have like all these games like Infamous, BioShock, Infinite, and I also think I have to check, but I also think I have 1 too. And I also have like a bunch of other games like the Dragon Ball Budokai Collection, the Devil May Cry Collection, Borderlands 2. Oh, although I already own that one, but the original Journey on PS3. Like, you get what I mean. You get what I mean. This is I'm loving the fact that I can be able to play these games finally and enjoy them. And I can't wait because later today, I'm actually planning to do a stream of Tekken Tag Tournament in HD. Now, I will admit, there was a problem. PS3, unfortunately, is not set up to be recorded off a capture card. It's not. Unlike the PS4, where I can, switch off an option to do that. PS3, Like, that's a big part of why I wasn't able to make content on PS3 games. I fixed that. I bought this cheapo HDMI splitter. Yeah, I bought it. Considering how much I paid for PS3, yeah, this was cheap. This was cheap. I paid less than $100 for the PS3, yeah. But this was like, I think like 10 or 12 bucks. But anyway, I bought this little HDMI splitter. And now I've tested it. I can play games, music, even films on my PS3 with no real issue on Discord. You know? It's coming in perfectly clear and everything. Like, it's perfectly fine. I love it. So, you should kind of already figure where this is going if you know me. Yes, I revisit a lot of older games. PS3 games will now be touched on. Hence, why later today I'm actually going to be playing Tekken Tag 2 because now I can actually do that. It's not just having a PS3, now I have an actual means to be able to showcase and stream that content. So there's a bunch of games on the PS3 alone I want to actually play, and I'm real glad that I can be able to do that. And now on to things that unfortunately, for better or worse, are kind of something that I want to say are the bane of my existence in a lot of ways. Did it not? I had this all set up and everything. What the fuck do you mean the files are... Oh my god. I mean, they're just images. Whatever. I'll just talk about it. Alright, so... It's like it hasn't changed anything. I'll edit it in post if I need to. Whatever. Anyway. So, going down the list of things that have sort of been the circle of conversation. Persona 5, The Phantom X. No. No, I already said this. And I made a full-on video, and you can go watch it for yourself. I already said that Persona 3 Reload was going to be the last Persona game I bought. But... I am sick and fucking tired of Persona 5. I'm done. I am sick to death of hearing anything about it. I'm sick and fucking tired of this. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't fucking care. You know what would make me happy? Is hearing, oh yeah, Persona 3... Or, not Persona 3, sorry. Persona 4 got a remake. Persona 1 and 2 got a remake. You know? Like, even fucking Persona Q getting a remake or a report or whatever the fuck, right? Just something else. You know? Just something else. I gotta work it now. Yeah, this is... I fucking hate this. I hate this. It's just... And on top of this, this isn't even like a normal Persona 5 game. This is a fucking gacha game. This is a fucking gacha... I'm done. I hate this. I am so fed up with Persona 5. And I know some of you think, oh, you're just a hater. Motherfucker. Motherfuckers! You know... Alright. I'm gonna out myself here. I have a copy of Persona 5 Vanilla that I got on the PS4 just for a fucking video, which I have wasted money on. I have a copy of Persona 5 Royal, which admittingly is just Persona 5 with an expansion DLC that I paid way too much fucking money for. I have 10 volumes of the Persona 5 fucking manga. I hate myself. I have spent so much time into this fucking iteration. I hate myself for this shit. 100%. Either later this year or next year. You know what I'm fucking thinking of? I'm actually thinking of selling off some of this shit. I'm thinking of selling off some of this shit and getting at least a fraction of the money that I spent on this back. Because I'm just so fucking done with it. I'm so done with Persona 5. I am so done with this franchise. Like, I like Persona. I cannot stress that enough. But, oh my fucking god. Like, can we just move the fuck on from shit like this? Ugh. Oh, I found an old conversation. Sorry to derail, but I found an old conversation. And this was about, I believe, Switch and everything. Yeah, this was about Switch too, but I think this can also apply to the current day gaming. But I was in a Discord server, and I have all of this stuff screenshotted, so if people want the proof, I can just show it, but I'm just going to read this off. So, we'll say this particular individual is called LB. LB says it doesn't mean you can't. Basically, it's we're talking about like the Switch Online stuff and whatnot, and because Switch 2 is basically talking about like just like Switch 2 is like talking about some stuff and whatnot, and I'm raising my concerns. I say in response to LB is just like, they even have their own like group chats. That's true. It doesn't mean that you can't create a lobby with friends. But my problem ultimately was, and I say this, playing most games online is a big draw for so many titles and audiences. And that's why so many people want a copy of the new online co-op game they paid $70 for. Paying that on top of the online service, which, to be fair, the online service of Switch is like $10, $20 or so. But still, already feels like a ripoff. No matter how much money you spend on these games, you can't play with others if you don't have the extra price tag. If you want the free games, you can switch plans and go for the PlayStation Plus plan that gives you those games for free for a month. I believe it's the same with Xbox and Game Pass, where it's just like, if you want to play those other games for free, you can do it for a month. After that, if you have the money, if you do not have the money, they are worthless storage in like the PlayStation and the Xbox and whatnot that you installed. LB says fair. I say, that's why, quote, that's why I fuck with Steam, unquote. An individual by the name of SK comes out and says, Steam ain't perfect either, though. I like Steam as much as the next, but clearly some games are not designed to run on the platform. I responded, it's a hell of a lot better than the others. Like, I ultimately, like, this is why, by all accounts, I loved getting a Steam Deck. SK responds, I have one too, and I adore it. I especially play it for a lot of the games that the system can run flawlessly without any issue. Yakuza games, easy. Sonic games, easy as well. Games designed for easy Steam Deck play, absolutely. But then you get to the really high-end graphics stuff, like, we'll call them AS. Like AS said above, or Marvel Rivals, and think can barely handle it. Like, it's not the end-all be-all answer. Which is interesting. They say... Which is interesting. They say, oh, like, it can barely handle stuff like Marvel Rivals. And yet, you can look at a number of streams I've done. I have played Marvel Rivals on the Steam Deck perfectly fine. And SK goes on to say, Sea of Thieves, how about Sea of Nope? Because there's no way in shit that Sea of Thieves would run a Steam Deck. I responded with a full thread because I knew I was accustomed to sort of the community I was in at this point. I knew I was not going to be able to get a word in edgewise, or that I was just going to get misrepresented, or people were just going to twist my words around. I said this about the Steam Deck. After owning it for about 2 years now, I think going on... yeah, it's about 2 years. The Steam Deck is an impressive piece of gaming tech as well as both a console and a PC. While there are games that aren't out of the box intended to work with the system, I've actually had to go in and like input some like code or readjust sort of how to play it so that way it can be able to work, which 90% of the time this works. 8% of the time this works with some margin of error. 1% of the time this works, but there's like shit that I just can't fix. And then the other 1% is just games that don't fucking work. But yeah, I like, plenty of people in the Proton community and everything have been really helpful in order to help get this to work. So I'm really grateful for that. So I just love the community support. And yeah, I will admit, I say this too. And yes, games with certain easy anti-cheat or EAC programs can be a bother. That I'm not going to defend. But the library of games, from Hades to Yakuza, from Undertale to Persona, from Granblue to Tekken, and so much more, work perfectly fine on the system without fail. And you can trust me on this because I have shown this. And I have played these games. Out of all that entire list, I have played Hades, I have played Undertale, I have played Persona, I have played Tekken Live. I don't know about Yakuza, which I'm wondering why I'm having, even though I have the game. I don't know. Anyway, not my point. And ultimately, just, they work perfectly fine on the system without fail. And this is a big one for why I like the Steam Deck, the lack of paying for an online subscription to play these games online, mixed in with plenty of deals for games month after month, and sharing games with others through accounts, and even gifting people games they may not have. Next to, for one, I mean, the ability to refund games, which is something that consoles technically do if you have not played the fucking game, whereas with Steam, you go, I think the limit is about 2 hours or a week or so, or I think, I don't know, but you get at least a chance to try out the game, see if it's for you. If it's not, then you can return it. That's what I love about it. But next to also the capabilities regarding emulation and ease of access. Granted, yeah, emulation does have its problems. But the ease of access, like the modding scene, of course, as well. I say this too, being overall fine on so many games on the deck, which I also tested out some things with a mod manager. While I can't get Sonic Adventure to still work, I've gotten Devil May Cry 5 to get modded, and that fucking, it works so well. The modding scene being overall fine on so many games on the deck, I go on to say this too. Working as a PC for some games that may not do too well with controller support, which is stuff like Final Fantasy XIV, which I've played, and that is, which, you know, that is a genuine criticism as well. The fact that these games don't really have too much, like, there's not, every game doesn't necessarily have a good controller support. That's a genuine criticism, and that's unfortunate. But that next to, like, I mean, ultimately, I mean, personally for me, I have the option to, like, hook up a keyboard and a mouse, so it's not really too much problem. But it is a genuine criticism, I will admit that. But all of that, and using it mainly just as a gaming machine in place of my PS4, my Nintendo Switch, my 3DS, even my PC, like all the shit that I've had over the years. Like, it's been a process that has had fairly few roadblocks in my eyes. I go on to say, regarding games with high-end graphics, in my eyes, it is a valid critique. However, it's also a case-by-case basis that doesn't apply across the board to people who just want to play the game with lower settings. Because, just because you want to play the newest Final Fantasy and whatnot at the highest in graphics, this does not mean the same for everybody. And acting as if games with high-end graphics do not do well on these systems, and speaking on behalf of everybody, this is what I don't actually vibe with. It doesn't apply across the board to people who want to play the games with lower settings. And mind you, this is coming from someone who has played games like Devil May Cry 5. This is coming from someone who has played Final Fantasy XIV, which I don't think is incredibly graphically, like, high-end, but it is a very big game. And this is also coming from someone who's played Cyberpunk 2077 and Yakuza on the engine, on the Steam Deck. The games work fine. But then there is games ultimately like Okami that I've tried playing on Steam Deck, and unfortunately for whatever reason, a game like that is just running so hot on the Steam Deck. So that is more of a problem with the port, not necessarily a problem with the device. And yeah, I also go on to say this. Yes, certain games do not work on Steam Deck. I'm not defending that. But, and I want to preface this entirely, just because some games do not work, that's not a smoking gun. Those are a part of the list of pros and cons that come with getting a Steam Deck. Or, honestly, that come with, in this day and age, come with getting any gaming console. Because, yeah, most gaming consoles will have working games, but you also have to deal with a lot of financial cons that come with it. It's important to note that, I go on to say this, it is important to note that a few bad apples does not make the grove bad. And yes, it does cost quite a bit. It costs about like $400. It's expensive. And if you do not have the money or the means to, I don't, by all accounts, don't get into it, don't buy it. But, I will say if you do have the means to, like I did, I had the means to actually save up enough for being able, from having some jobs and being able to play games with my friends in the last 2 years, and by myself and with friends. I have a PlayStation 4, which I am 100% considering selling. 100%. I had saved up enough money for that, and gotten a copy of Tekken 7. Only to realize that I couldn't actually play with anybody because I needed to pay for a subscription service online. The fact that I can be able to play games like Tekken 7 on my Steam Deck without any real problems with my friends, like, how is that not an avenue that more people should be going for? SK responds to this. Thank you for regarding my critiques about the whole thing being valid, and admitting that certain games do not work on the system. Which I also said, just because you're correct doesn't mean that you're right, basically. That just because some games work doesn't automatically mean that it's just a smoking gun. I hope you also take into the fact that I did not forget about the ability to mod games, which I want to go back and see what SK said. They said, again, if someone wants the screenshots of this, I can show them, but like, it's mainly about stuff that, just high-end graphic stuff and whatnot. That they have, that it's just like, oh yeah, Steam Deck is not really, like, good for high-end graphic stuff like Marvel Rivals or Sea of Thieves. They didn't say anything about the modding scene. You know, I'm probably just gonna edit in, like, the screenshots and whatnot with, like, censored names. But yeah. But yeah, this is just like, yeah, let's not I hope you take into the fact that I did not, SK says, I hope you take into the fact that I did not forget about the ability to mod games, and the library of games on there is very well done that can be run on the scene without causing an issue. The Personas being a fantastic example of that, especially Golden. And then they ended with, I hope you realize I adore my Steam Deck too. It is a great way for me to play my PC games that won't take too much power while having full screen to my desktop when I need them most. I end this on simply saying, I never said it was an end-to-all answer. You did. I said that's why I fuck with Steam. Again, I'll probably just edit all of these and post and whatnot, but my point was ultimately is that, yeah, gaming sucks now, and I really just kind of, like, I hate the way the gaming industry is now, and that's why, by all accounts, I enjoy playing, like, on Steam and everything. And I've been going on. I've been rambling for a bit, haven't I? Where was I? All right, Persona 5. Yeah, probably gonna just. I'm done with Persona 5. I'm probably gonna sell off my merch. Anyway, other than that, I felt that the entire time. I don't know why. Probably forgot. I don't know. Anyway, P3 Reload the answer. In a shorter note, yeah, I bought it, and I'm hoping down the line, because I want to actually play some other stuff right now. I'm hoping down the line I can actually be able to get through it, because I did say at the end of my Persona 3 Reload playthrough that I was going to tackle the answer, because I got some thoughts about the answer. And, you know, just like, I just haven't been touching it, because ultimately I just didn't want to go back to the same ball and chain right away. But yeah. Other than that, Borderlands 4, yeah, the, Mr. Randy Pitchfork has been talking about essentially how, like, oh, if you don't buy like Borderlands 4, you're not a real fan. Charging it at $80, and everyone has been thoroughly pissed. So much so that even other like corporations and businesses in the industry have been taking shots at this. Devolver Digital said, hey, if you buy Mycopunk for you and 3 other friends, it'll cost you the same amount, it'll cost you altogether the same amount of money it will cost to get one Borderlands 4. So, yeah, that's already on my wish list, obviously. Other than that, there's also Metaphor ReFantazio. Yeah. So, I have been taking a major break off of that because of the hiatus and everything, so I haven't gotten really back to touching it, unfortunately. But I'm considering this because I have been gone for a month. Sometime this month, I don't know if I'm doing this Wednesday or if I'm doing it this week, but sometime this month, I'm actually considering just blazing through as much of the story as possible. I'm gonna be doing longer than normal streams occasionally, I think, and then just blazing through as much story as I possibly can, because I kind of want to, as much as I love the game, I do kind of want to get done with it, honestly. I know it's a massive and it's a long game. I want to, because I've been gone, I want to binge through Metaphor ReFantazio as much as I possibly can. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get finished with it, but I don't know. But yeah, I just hope to be able to get through that sometime in the future. Anyway, there's also some other big news that's happened, I believe this month, for a particular community in general, but news is spread that more so that over in the West we're going to be getting this. But yeah, Devil May Cry 5 and Punishing Guru Raven are getting a crossover. Yeah, I do some Punishing Guru Raven content every so often. And yeah, I am going to be participating in the collab. Now, it's currently, I think, over in... I was in a call with a friend of mine about this, and they were saying, oh yeah, the game that everyone plays now because Devil May Cry 5 is in it, it's not... it's not for us. It is for China, but coming August, I believe Global is going to be getting it, so yeah, coming August, I'll be pretty much getting these characters. Yeah. I checked out sort of the movesets and whatnot. I've checked out some of the content that they've been showcasing. It looks really good. But yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just intending to check that out. Other than that, I'm also... some other gacha games and whatnot. Honkai Star Rail, for instance. I've already said this, but I'm dropping it. And if you don't know why, in the time I was gone, I had said that I released a video. Well, I made a video back in April and I released it in May to prove a point. But yeah, there's a video about a Honkai Star Rail that's back from like May that ultimately, May 1st, I believe. That ultimately was about, yeah, ultimately I feel like a fucking idiot for trying to think that this is going to be any different than Genshin Impact or anything. And I can't prove it, but ultimately I do feel like Zenless Zone Zero is going to be heading down that direction as well. Give it another year. give it another year. It's probably gonna end up being like that. But ultimately, I don't. Even if it isn't, I don't feel comfortable, like, actually playing these games. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that I'm dropping them. Because, I just had this reflection while I was on hiatus where it's just like, dude, I'm playing Punchy Gray Raven, I'm playing Wuthering Waves, and also Honkai Star Rail Zenless Zero. This is too much. I need to cut. So, dropping HSR and ZZZ, and occasionally playing Wuthering Waves and Punching Gray Raven on, you know, the on and off sort of. I feel like it's just a better use of my time, free time, honestly, instead of. It's just like, I don't know how. Okay, like let me get my thoughts straight, because I don't know, genuinely, I don't know how people who don't get paid for doing content and everything, I don't know how people can do like more than maybe 1 or 2 games, honestly, like collectively and everything, like especially gacha games, like I don't know how people can do like multitask like up to like 4 games. I've heard some people, apparently they play like 5 to 7 gacha games. There's apparently people now that are playing fucking, I refuse to believe this is true. There are people that are playing like 13 gacha games. What the fuck? And they're not getting paid for it. It's not like sponsorships or anything. It's not like they're making like a lot of money off of content. No, they're just burning through their money and essentially going into debt, because these are just all casinos. That's what they are. That's what gacha games are. They're just casinos. I'm just like, if you don't get paid for doing, like, you know, playing gacha games and everything, like, in my eyes, I'm just gonna say it, I'm not sorry to say this, you gotta be a stupid motherfucker to play 13 gacha games and, you know, brag about that shit. It's just like, it was hard, it's just like, it's a pain in the ass to keep up with so many of these fucking games. Like, as soon as I dropped Honkai Star Rail and Zenless, and just focus on, like, occasionally punching Gray Raven, but mostly Wuthering Waves, I felt it was a better use of my time. Also, I'm gonna be real here, I have not really felt the need in any of these, for over the course of the month, I have not really felt the need to actually, like, pay money for much of this, but when I've wanted to, I mean, it's great that I'm, like, by all accounts, just spending a couple of dollars or so, or whatnot, on, like, one game, instead of, like, several games. I still can't believe it. I refuse to believe that's the truth. Genuinely. I think that someone made that shit up, that there are people who play 13 gacha games. I refuse to believe that's the fucking truth. If you're doing that, and genuinely, if you're doing that and you're not getting your money back in terms of, like, content and everything, what the fuck is... I have to ask, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, genuinely. Like, these... Mind you, it's not like, oh, I'm playing 13 games and everything. No, you're playing 13 casinos. You're losing money for content that you can't make back on. You can't make that money back. Ugh. It just boggles my mind, the fact that there's a story like that out. That has to be a troll. Like, that has to be a joke. There cannot be... Okay, maybe there's, like, one depressing individual out there. In which case, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But, yeah. Other than that, in the month or so I've been gone, I heard Genshin Impact was forced to change its ways over what the government was sort of pushing. That's big. Also, on the note of Genshin Impact, I've been hearing some things about SAG-AFTRA. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about SAG-AFTRA, and sort of how a number of actors and actresses have been making things worse for the strike and everything, but also with the way the strike is handled and everything, I have to wonder, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know where to stand on it, because this entire time I've been sort of with the strike, because I've been going off the idea that, oh, they're standing against the idea of companies actually using AI, which, considering Fortnite added in James Earl Jones, which, yeah. Now, I will say, I do acknowledge that regarding the whole Fortnite James Earl Jones thing with Darth Vader, the fact that apparently he consented to his use of AI and his family allowed it before his, family allowed it after his passing, I don't agree with it. But I can acknowledge at the very least he gave his thumbs up for it. But from what I've seen, because I think Video Game Donkey made a video about it, what I see, I'm just like, you know, why didn't you just make a scripted version of it? Like, make an AI version of Darth Vader using his voice that says a bunch of stuff that's approved by Disney and LucasArts, you know? Like, a bunch of stuff that's callbacks to the, a bunch of stuff that's like callbacks to just, it's the Star Wars and the films that he was in and whatnot. You could have just done that. I mean, I think, like, what is it? Like, World of Tanks does, like, has a bunch of, like, collabs and collaborations and whatnot, and gets actors to play these, different roles and whatnot. Or not plays different roles, but actors play these famous roles for, and, like, having scripted lines and whatnot that are in line with what the game needs. So, at the very least, like, that's understandable. But, I don't know, with what I'm hearing about, like, Fortnite and everything, I'm just like, there's better ways to go about doing this. That I don't know, it just doesn't feel like you did. And, fucking, it's just, I just, like, stuff like that is ultimately why I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of with SAG-AFTRA on this, and, you know, striking and boycotting these different companies for doing this. But at the same time, it's also gotten out of hand where now it's just like, I think it's gotten way too out of hand, where particularly, like, games like Genshin Impact and whatnot, the actors have kind of been making this shit worse than it really needs to be. And there's been a lot of misinformation and unclear lines over the course of the month that have been sort of going out. And also, again, there are actors that apparently have been making this worse. Like, those actors and actresses know who the fuck they are, and I'm sure that the people who are fans of these games and whatnot know who they are as well. So, I'm not gonna speak on that shit. But yeah. Mainly, it's not even necessarily because of, oh, I don't want to get trouble. It's just because I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about Genshin Impact. I don't care about... I mean, I don't really give a fuck about, like, the actors. I know it sounds like a dick move, but I don't know who the fuck they are. I just don't. I don't interact with any of them. I like some of their work, but I just don't care for... I don't care personally for any of them because I just don't have that connection. You can call me an asshole as much as you want, but it's just like, I mean, to take a quote from something special, who are these niggas? You know? Just, who the fuck are these people? I don't know you! Anyway. Other than that, Wuthering Waves is now on Steam. It came out on Steam, I believe, back in April. I think it was coming out on Steam when the anniversary was showing up, which was the end of April. But, yeah. I mean, that's nice, it's on Steam, and even with this newest update, I've been hearing a lot of people saying, oh man, like, they've been listening, like, the devs have been listening, this is such a great, like, Wuthering Waves is so fucking back and everything and all that shit. Been hearing all that. I'm surprised nobody's actually talking about the fact that it's not playable for the Steam Deck. You know, the device that Steam has been shilling so that you can play games on their platform without needing to buy an expensive PC. You know, that fucking device? Yeah. Now, I will say that I tested it out. It wasn't working. The devs have acknowledged that the game does not play on the Steam Deck, and they're trying to optimize it. And I was hoping for this next patch that they would say, yeah, we've heard about the cries and everything, and we have now optimized it for this next patch to be more in line with working for the Steam Deck. That would have been cool. I thought that was going to be a next patch thing. I checked out the next patch. I haven't seen or heard really anything regarding the fact that it was going to be optimized for Steam Deck. I could be wrong. But yeah, all this shit about, oh yeah, we're re-optimizing like the color, the pretty colors and everything. We're adding in all this new stuff and all these new events, and people praising about it. Like, yeah, that's cool, but it doesn't mean dick if I can't actually play it. It's just like, well, you play like Wuthering Waves on your phone. I'm sick and tired of playing it on my phone is the thing. I don't want to continue playing a game that beautiful on my phone. I want to play it with a machine that actually is built for gaming. Not my fucking 4 to 5 year old phone that is every time I play Wuthering Waves, I can feel this shit like getting hotter at the point where I feel like it's almost ready to explode. Ugh. I'm not like I'm hoping that in this next patch, or the patch after, I should say, that they do address the whole thing with Steam Deck and that they're actually optimizing it. And if people are wondering, it's just like, well, it has an anti-cheat, so what do you expect? I thought that too, but then I realized, wait, NetEase, the guys who do Marvel Rivals, that game also has an anti-cheat, but it works perfectly fine on the Steam Deck. Granted, there are some hiccups every now and then, but I've been able to get that thing working and running and streaming it. So, yeah, I 100% do. I 100% don't have a problem with it. Like, it's just like, but I also believe that, yeah, this can be optimized. Like, there can be, by all accounts, like, an anti-cheat out there that could work with the Steam Deck. Or at the very least, like, hell, making the Steam client, like, I don't know, understand and acknowledge, like, hey, if you're playing on, like, the Steam client, hey, if you're playing on a Steam Deck, it can work, you know? Or, hell, do what the Halo Master Chief Collection did, where they gave the game where it's just like, yeah, you can play this with anti-cheat or without anti-cheat. You know? Just, there's other options here that can make this game playable. Because I have played, I'm just getting out of this, I have played Punishing Gray Raven and Hawkeye Star Rail on the fucking Steam Deck, and they work perfectly fine. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that's just, I'm just hoping that, I'm just hoping that, like, as time goes on, that with this, in the next couple months or so, hopefully that the game actually works for the Steam Deck. I'm hoping for that. I would rather not have to play the, rather not have to play this with Genshin Impact again. And the Switch. To those that don't know, and I don't blame you because they've pretty much swept this under the rug, yeah, there used to be, and you can look this up, there was talk about how, by all accounts, Genshin Impact was going to play on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, so where's that Switch port, Mohoyo? I haven't heard much about it. I've heard it being played on stuff like the PlayStation 5. I've heard it being played on stuff like the Xbox. Where's that Nintendo Switch 1 port? So yeah, I'm just like, if you can make it playable on the Steam Deck, you're doing a hell of a lot of a better job. You're doing a hell of a better job than Mario. Hell, they released only one of their games on Steam and it's poorly optimized. They haven't bothered to fuck with it. Yeah. Other than that, this is just, I've sort of heard this in passing because I got friends who are excited about this. Kingdom Hearts 4. Yeah. I mean, I'm not really too interested in Kingdom Hearts, honestly, but I know friends and whatnot. Honestly, I'm just gonna say it looks significantly less interesting to me than what Kingdom Hearts used to be, because you know what this shit looks like? It just looks like Final Fantasy. And I get, you know, this is sort of like the aesthetic that Square Enix is going for, but I'm just gonna say it. I think Kingdom Hearts, by all account, it looks charming because it looks cartoonish. It genuinely looked cartoonish. It looked like a genuine, like, it looked like a genuine, like, fantasy kind of adventure story. And now we're going for Final Fantasy on the aesthetic. That's all I got on that. But other than that, also, to top this off, there is one other gacha game. I believe it's called Silver Frame or Silver Palace. Here's the thing. And here's the thing. It's just like, I understand that Genshin Impact was a big, like, game changer when it came to the gacha games. So much so that people had to sort of make their own and everything. And I gotta tell you, the more that the graphics, like, and whatnot get put into games like these, I'm just like, motherfuckers, why don't you just make a game priced at, like, $60 or $40 looking like this, that you can unlock everything instead of having to, you know, roll on the gacha, like play a casino, you know? It honestly pisses me off. The fact that the games like Wuthering Waves, games like Punishing Gray Raven, games like Honkai Star Rail, games like Zone Zero, all these games look really good. But at the same time, they're just gacha games. And it's just like, why? I would like for these games to just release as games. Like, give me an anime open world game and just price it at, like, I don't know, 50 to 60 bucks or something, you know? And just let that be that. Like, have things be unlocked. I was recently playing this, like, one game. I forget the title. But I was playing this one game where it's just, like, it's a full-on, like, bullet hell, like, chest-based, it also has chest-based combat and everything. And it was on sale a while back. And, like, there's no microtransactions, there's no DLC, everything can be unlocked. Like, I'm just like, where are games like that nowadays? And also, I checked, like, the trailer, and it's like, it is... Okay, I gotta talk about this. Because Silver Frame is putting, like, some stock into degeneracy. Like, fan service and whatnot. And I've been noticing this with quite a bit of games. I know the shrug off is just, well, it's a gacha game and sex sells. I gotta talk about this, because this is coming from a degenerate. This is coming from somebody who is a fan of adult works. This is coming from somebody who browses Rule 34. This is coming from somebody who will play games with hot characters and immediately thirst over them. Excuse me. Sorry. But this is coming from somebody who is a degenerate. I'm tired of the Gooner gacha game. I'm tired of this shit. Why? Because it's the same shit. It is just... I hate the Gooner gacha game because it's just like... It's just, oh, pretty characters, but also here's almost a nip slap, or here's like some ass in your face and everything. It's just like... So... Is like what happened to the days of stuff like Fate Stay Night? You know? Where you could be a genuine story with good-looking characters, but also be an adult work. You know? Like, actually have, like, fan service, actually have characters in skimpy clothing, but also have, like fucking finesse, like, class to it on some level. You know? Like, it's just, it just feels like now, anytime a new gacha game comes out, I'm just half expecting, alright, when are we getting, like, a close-up of the girl's camel toe, you know? It's just, it's like this, right? Adult content, whether it be fan service or sexual appeal and whatnot, is like cake. You know? Or I should say, it's like sort of the frosting or the topping on a cake. You know? It's like, yeah, it can heighten it can make it taste pretty good. But when your cake is nothing but frosting, you know? It's just like... And that's all you do? It's just like, ugh. And it feels recently that a lot of these games, they look like well-baked cakes, but they all insist of having the same kind of fucking frosting. And it's just like... Can we get a cake without frosting? Or at least change up how you make the cake, you know? Like, you've already baked this cake. Where is, like, you know, just change things up. And sometimes, you know, some people who make these games don't even make cake. They make other stuff. Some people make cinnamon rolls. Some people will go out of their way to make fucking French toast. Some people go out of the way to make pancakes, which is still cake, but it's just like, it's a different kind of cake. Some people will go out of their way to make pizza, but people in the industry try to at least change up how they handle serving you a dish. This feels just like cake. It looks good, and it might taste good, but by all accounts, it's just tasting with that frosting the same kind of shit that I am kind of numb to at this point. And that's the whole thing I'm trying to get at, is that the whole thing with these games pushing fan service and whatnot, girls in skimpy clothing, ass shots, camel toes and whatnot, it just feels like I'm bored. I'm genuinely bored. And this is coming from a degenerate. I'm bored of the shit. Change the fucking record. But yeah. That's all I got, I think, for now. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happened this month. Oh, man. I guess it's somewhat good to be back. Man. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me and catching up. Yeah, you know what? It's good to be back. I'll say that. It's good to be back. And I can't wait to play some PS3 games down the line. Most notably, later today, I'm gonna intend to try and play Tekken Tag 2. Get some hours out of that. Yeah. This is, yeah. I don't know what the schedule is going to be looking like. For right now, while I do have a PS3, I intend to sort of focus on Metaphor Fantasio. I intend to. And after that, I am hoping down the line I can actually focus on games that I, you know, genuinely want to visit and everything. But yeah. Anyway, that is going to do it. Yeah, so I guess if this is where you stop, thank you all for joining me. If you want to join me later, I will be doing a Tekken Tag Tournament 2 live stream. So, can't wait to see some of y'all for that. Anyway, this has been good. Thank you all for joining me. I guess subscribe if you want to. There is also the option to check me out on stuff like Blue Sky, on stuff like Kara. You can check out my portfolio on ArtStation. You can check out my shop, which, you know, I'll just have all of this like in the description below. But yeah, now I actually selling my art, so feel free to support me there. And if you want to, yeah, you can also support me on ko-fi.com/Sozo-sha if you don't want to buy any products. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. And as always, remember, you're always welcome at Cafe Autumn, as long as you're not a cunt. Take care.
Okay, busy, my head is spinning, feel dizzy, like ring around. Ain't feeling rosy, wanna see the homies, but I'm leaving home and never stick around. Always on the move, bags packed, grab snacks, fast track, lift off. But I crash fast, gas tanks, ran past that last drip drop, like woo. Need a day to just catch my breath, feeling drained, I wanna get some rest. Sleep too long on these few times, but each new dawn I miss my bed. Serious about commas, but a period's what I want. Really missing the calm of full freedom, missing all qualms, yeah. What? As it turns out, I'm getting burnt out.